Why, hello, children. How are you? Anyway, let me get Justin. Let's see here. Is Uncle Justin here?
Why did you say Uncle Justin?
Because I was like, is everyone ready? Let me get Uncle Justin ready. Because you're creepy Uncle Justin. I don't know.
I'm not creepy. I'm
If
just
we're
Uncle
if we're
Justin.
a horror if look we're for a horror host ensemble, you're creepy Uncle Justin, okay?
Okay,
I'm the
fine.
host Tex Valeria, and that's creepy Uncle Justin. Why is he creepy? I don't know. Some people are just creepy. They're born
It's
that way.
dark. You never know what could happen when it's this
Some
dark in my
peop
room.
some people are just born creepy, you know? They can't help it. I was born this way. You know.
Got that creepy smile too.
That creepy smile. You always do the creepy smile in the photos. That's one reason why
Yeah.
you're creepy, Uncle Justin. You know? Alright,
Love doing creepy
we
smiles. My
have
favorite. My go-to.
we have a lot to discuss. I have a joint to roll, so whoa! Whoa!
Careful.
Uh-oh. Talk.
Careful.
I gotta fix my audio. Say something.
Hello?
Okay. my my audio interface, which is very expensive, is breaking. So
No!
occasionally, when I adjust the volume on
Oh.
my end to be able to hear you better, I killed the left ear.
Oh,
It's because when I first started using it, I
so
was
annoying.
taking the plug in and out over and over again to remove the headphones to play audio. But then I figured out the mode in which to make it so I could play audio and then just silence the speakers and still listen to the headphones on the device. It was
Mm.
actually quite simple. I was just quite dumb about it, and I didn't realize being dumb. To be fair, just a lot of like, oh, I'm doing push buttons. Ah, what? I
Was
love you,
just saying
baby
hi to
cat.
my kitty too.
Hi, baby. Oh,
She's at my feet right now.
the
So
cat's right here to my right, just off
I
frame.
expect a lot of ankle biting because she does that all the time.
It's love bites. She loves you.
Like,
You're
hey,
her
give me
human.
attention. Hey, give me attention.
You are her human. She was
Hey, give me
not
attention.
raised properly. This is how she knows how to show affection. Some girls are just like that, Justin. Okay? Some of
Give
us
me
just
attention. I
bite.
want attention.
Some of us just bite to show her affection.
And to get attention.
It's the same thing. There's it's the management wants you to choose between photos, attention, and affection. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
These two photos are the same. They're photos of the same thing. So, since you probably remember more about Zardoz than I do, because if I remember very specifically, about 27 minutes into Zardoz, I was too high, and my sleep meds kicked in,
Oh
so I
yeah.
entered the Twilight Zone
And that movie is very fucking slow
and
and
weird.
honestly it's a little dull,
I need to watch it
but
again, honestly.
I still was like entranced by it. I kind of think being high is like the perfect way to watch it.
No, no, no.
But
I was high. I got too
you
high
yes, you got two.
because I had
Yeah,
gotten this new
and then
weed and I didn't understand its potence and
the drugs were making you sleepy as well, the other drugs.
an
So
ancient angry
yeah.
gnoll that lives in my weed taught me a lesson about smoking too much weed when I don't understand the tolerance of each strain. I gotta take each strain with its own grain, so to
But
speak.
uh in regards to Zardoz, I
Zardoz.
thought it was actually pretty damn good of a story. The concept of it, it kind of struck me as like they're trying to do what Planet of the Apes was trying to do in regards to having a social message, sort of, right? But the social message they had is like still relevant today. In fact, it has
We
probably
changed
become
nothing.
even more relevant today. Because what is happening is that these very wealthy rich people, in order to appease the poor people that are like giving them the food and everything they need to survive, um, are like giving them guns and shit to fucking have wars with, to
Amongst
fucking
each other, yeah.
engage themselves with, so to speak. And it's just like if you look at the commentary on display there, it's like not only still prescient today, it's probably more relevant today than when it first came out.
I think
But
my
you
count.
have to look beyond the way that what's his face is dressed, though. I will
I
say
had a
that.
counter. I got a counter saying I don't feel like it's subtextual. I think it's too on the nose.
It
It's
is
it
very on the
feels like art for the sake of art, and thus it fails to obfuscate its message properly, and instead it
pedantic.
just beats you over the head with, look, this is just like our culture. You get it yet?
Yeah,
Which it's
but
not
not
necessarily
like
bad,
that.
but that's what part of the entertainment is. But like, I don't think it's as high quality as you do. I feel like it's definitely as.
Well, to be clear, I only give it like one thumb up. I don't think it's a two thumbs up scenario or
Oh
anything.
man,
But
do I even give it a one thumbs up?
I was
I give
expecting
it a
it
one
to
thumbs up.
be
Okay.
um I was not expecting it to be something that I would enjoy. I was expecting it to be kind of it is dull, but dull and uninteresting. And this was not uninteresting. It was actually pretty interesting. And I think that like the message that they were trying to get across at the time probably was not as relatable at that time because like guns, honestly, if you look at the statistics, were not as big of a problem back then as they are today.
I think
They might have
they.
felt that
I
like they
think.
were a big problem, but
I think we have had a very consistent problem with mass shootings since about post World War II. And I think it hasn't been a focus of the media until we had the 24-hour news cycle.
this is true. That played a huge role in it. But like it didn't start kicking off
Guns in
until like
America
the
have
80s and 90s.
always been a problem. Have always been a problem, I think, to some degree.
Yeah.
The problem is those problems were only prevalent in people of color and marginalized people groups because they're the ones who were plagued by the violence because they lived in a state of uh, oppression in such a way that they had to use violence to protect themselves against each other because everyone was desperate to feed themselves and and to escape their shitty surroundings that they've been forced into by their socioeconomic political positions by white centrist and right wing fucking boomers. Basically, we started the whole process.
The message here is that if you're very into politics like me, you'll probably enjoy this movie.
It was a good movie. I think a lot of it just kind of washed over me in a weird haze of trippery,
Yeah.
and I feel like I should give it another chance at some point because I gave it a 6 out of 10. I gave it a thumbs up, but like,
I even kind of liked the reveal of like why is it named Zardoz, you know?
yeah, I mean,
I,
I just I
it
don't think
was kind of goofy, but it was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
I don't think it was like a bad movie. I think it is. I think the word I'm looking for is ham-fisted. It's ham-fisted. It's a
You
little.
find it ham-fisted. I find it
I
like
don't find it subtle at
it
all.
hit perfect for me.
Eh,
It hit perfectly.
that's the beauty of art,
But
though.
even hitting perfectly, it was like, thumbs up. I
I,
can't say it's a perfect movie. It is
I
not a perfect movie. It's dull. It's
there
very dull.
there's enough interesting things happening here, and visually speaking, and story wise, that I'm gonna take this another spin in a few years. I think
Ah, yeah.
maybe
Makes sense.
we'll throw it in one of the marathons in a couple years after the
It's
Discord's
funny.
really
I
successful.
I saw somebody post their like Blu-ray meager Blu-ray collection
Hey, 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 hey!
on
Let's not
Reddit.
judge.
Well,
Size
no,
doesn't
they just
matter.
started it, but like,
Meager
one of the things they
Blu-ray.
had was a copy of Zardoz that was like it's like a German release or something like
Nice.
that, and it apparently came in a yellow case, and it's like an off yellow, kind of like
I have a few of those releases.
egg yellow, kind of
So there's a
not
company.
eggshell, but
There's
egg
a
yellow.
company called Shameless, and they release movies in a yellow, like a translucent yellow, giallo style cover. So I've got The
It's not
Church.
translucent,
I
but
know what
yeah,
you're talking about, but I mean, like I have a slightly different yellow case, which is translucent, and I have The Church and I can't remember The Sect, The Church and The Sect, the two Michele Ciove, I think that's how you say his name. Ciove. I don't want to say his last name. Anyway, Italian protege of Argento, who did like Stage Fright and a bunch of other movies. But
By the way, do you have the sorry Arrow video release of what is it, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
I have the steelbook. Yeah.
Because that's out of print now. I didn't realize it, but I
Yeah.
found out that it's out of print.
I don't look.
And it's like fetching collector's prices.
My steelbook is ugly. I think the original Arrow steelbook is just ugly. I have it. It's ugly. So it's one of those releases I deeply love, but I am in search for a better release. Then I know they released a different steelbook here in the States, but I missed out on it. That's collecting fetching collector's prices, and it was beautiful, but I missed out. Um, so I'm still waiting for like a really good release stateside for the Killer Clowns.
Yeah,
The steel books have been really nice looking, but they've all been the same. Transfer.
apparently
Arrows is
this
a little
one
better, but
apparently the Arrow version, it has like some special features I don't need anything else on any of the movies.
yeah. That's the reason why I also still. So I'm not gonna get rid of it, but like the steelbook, the first steelbook that they did for Killer Clowns was kind of dull, kind of meh, unimpressed. It's like the one steelbook I'm like, it's okay. And of a movie I deeply love, by the way. I have Killer Clowns. I have one of the releases signed by the Kyoto Brothers. So, like, I have more than one photo of myself with the Kyoto Brothers. They used to know me by name, for God's sakes. I haven't seen them in years. To be fair, who knows?
Nice.
We just used to run into each other at conventions.
Random thought.
What?
Sorry, I was just gonna say like that was a random thought. Like,
Oh.
about the blue rating. So-
Oh right, yeah. No, I just yeah. We got on a tangent. Welcome to the.
This is
show.
how it works.
This is what we do. This is what we do.
We are both likely on like the autism spectrum somewhere. So
I am definitely autistic.
getting distracted is what we do best.
I'm definitely I'm definitely neurodivergent as fuck. I have been questioning whether I have ADHD or OCD for a few months now. A lot of
Yeah, I think in my case it's probably a bit
You-
of OCD.
You are definitely OCD. The way you like stress, the way you like
Yeah.
things aren't how they're supposed to be. You get like that's just one of the many ways that OCD expresses itself. Intrusive thoughts and a bunch
It's
of other
kind
things.
of
So.
it has hidden itself well for me. Like in terms of like it has hidden itself within my brain or whatever
Mhm.
very well for many years. So much so that I didn't see it when I was initially told that I might have OCD.
Mhm.
I was like, I don't see what you're talking about. But as the years go by, I'm like, I see it. I get it.
Yeah, I feel the same way about me. I'm like, yeah, maybe I am OCD. I don't know. It's hard to say. That's one of the ones like I am reticent to call myself without proper what's the word? Diagnosis.
Yeah.
I know it's very common in the neurodivergent community to self-diagnose. I self-diagnosed autism, but I had very thorough tests like I took.
Yeah, to be fair,
And then I talked to my therapist later, who I then later got a therapist
healthcare.
and a psychiatrist. I have both actually, and they both have said that I exhibit neurotypical autistic like tendencies. So, and every autistic friend I ever had says, "Are you autistic?" And the answer is, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm autistic."
Mhm.
So I'm pretty confident I self-diagnosed myself properly with that, but OCD is a little more complex, and so I don't. I personally, I'm not here to judge anybody else. I personally,
Well, this is why
don't wanna.
you say might,
Yeah,
as of yet to be
I'm
determined.
definitely autistic. Yeah, definitely autistic because like you go through that list of autism stuff, and it's just like everything is a check mark. Everything is a check mark. It's like okay.
Yeah, I did like
think-
one of those tests, and like, um, I think I got a 70 something score
That's a good
on it,
that's
which
good.
is like
Out of
it's
100,
not
yeah.
it was very no, it wasn't out of 100, it was out of like 200 or
Oh,
something.
wow. Okay, that's not too bad.
But it wasn't like way high up there according to what they were saying on their testing, but it did say like there's a possibility. It's entirely possible.
Because my
Affects everyone
was
differently.
what's interesting for me is my therapist and my psychiatrist both asked me without me prompting. I was like, okay. I mean, the psychiatrist is only supposed to be there for me working through my PTSD stuff, my CPTSD stuff. Excuse me. And so like,
Mhm.
I know we are way off topic, by the way. Welcome to the show.
This
But
is how we do it.
but yeah.
We'll move on to the next movie eventually. Don't worry.
So yeah, that's that's just one of those things. She's like, "Are you autistic?" I'm like, "Yes." Thank you for noticing.
Thank you for noticing.
Here we go. Next movie, Collision Course, 1989.
With Pat Morita or Morita, I can't remember how to pronounce it. Morita, I think, but and Jay Leno in
It's
a buddy
Marita.
cop Morita, okay.
Yeah.
In a buddy cop movie, copaganda, but not really because you get to see one cop at least being like explicitly, outwardly, undeniably racist as fuck.
And also, he's a bumbling idiot for the whole movie. He's saved.
um,
He's got a case of Jack Burton where he thinks he's the main character, but he's actually the sidekick. Speaking of Jay Leno,
well, I wasn't talking about Jay Leno's character in that case, but Jay Leno did make a lot of racist comments in the movie too. I think what I determined, regardless of that, regardless of what I think about the racism in the movie, what I determined while watching that movie is that it's a good thing that Jay Leno was not much of an actor and didn't try to pursue a traditional acting career because he's not very good. Like as an actor for movies, he's just not very good at
some industrial
it.
espionage happens. They steal some weird turbocharger that's like a prototype. Pat Morita is a Tokyo cop sent to America to investigate it, and he teams up with Jay Leno's character, reluctantly, of course. And they're the antithesis of buddy cops, but they're still buddy cops. And Jay Leno is just ignorant and making like racist comments and dumb comments, and Pat Morita's doing all the work. And it's Jack Burton syndrome, like I was saying. I mean, like that's a basic rundown of the movie and the plot, and without any spoilers. There's some
Yeah,
genuinely really funny moments in this movie, though. To be fair,
if you take the plot of this film and combine it with the plot with other plot elements from Drive 1997, what you get as a result is, of course, the far less good, far less entertaining Rush Hour series.
I
Is
was
what
about
it
to
felt
say,
like.
I feel like they tried again with Rush Hour, like the same premise, but like
It is a very similar premise in Rush Hour.
to be
I'm
fair,
just saying.
the buddy cops, the two cops being forced to work together from different jurisdictions, is a long running standing trope in buddy cop
Yeah.
comedies.
It's just a cop coming from a completely different culture, from a completely different country to the United States. That is a
Schwarzenegger does it in Red Heat, for an example.
it's a slightly different take on that concept of the buddy cop.
Michael Douglas is the out of the fish out of water buddy cop in Black Sun, but he's in Japan instead of being a Japanese person being here, and I think that's right. Maybe actually the Japanese people were here. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's a long-standing tradition in these buddy cop action comedy. Though, to be fair,
They even did it in Lethal Weapon.
the Michael Douglas film was not a comedy. There are some really funny moments in this movie, but the stark, unflinching racism that happens every few minutes makes it hard for me to ever recommend to anybody.
Yeah. Um, I didn't think it was terrible, but I don't really have any desire to watch it again either. That's the thing. Just on its own on its own merits, when you remove the negatives, it still is not something that's necessarily worth spending a lot of time on. Or like setting it if you don't have much time to set aside for movies, and you're thinking, I kind of want to watch this movie because I like Jay Leno and I like Pat Morita, and I want to see what they do together in a movie. I can understand that, and what I'm saying is, don't bother. It's not worth. It's not
Jay,
worth your time.
Jay Leno told people not to watch this movie on his own show.
So maybe he was a little embarrassed by it too.
He characterized it as a big mistake.
Yes.
It wasn't role wasn't right for him, which I agree. The role wasn't right for him. Schlubby dad who's divorced is the perfect role for Jay Leno. Like I could
Yeah.
see him like he has a problematic daughter. If he was the dad in Problem Child, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty good casting. He's annoyed by a kid that he has to adopt, and like that's the I don't see him as buddy cop. He's not convincing at all as a
Yeah.
cop, other than his inability to solve any crime
If
or
they had cast him the
whatever.
same way that they started casting what's his face? Steve Martin in the 90s, then he probably would have had a more successful acting career. But by that point he was already like a pretty big success in the late night shows, so yeah. I remember that being a very popular show back in the 90s. Jay Leno Tonight Show. Hi, Kitty.
Did that? Pretty sure he did that gig like for 20 years.
Yeah, and he's still getting work because of it, and he still does stand up, which
Oh God.
commend him
Okay,
on.
but his stand-up hasn't changed since the 80s.
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
Apparently,
And a note: he only ever goes to do comedy shows that are out in the sticks. Now he never goes
he
to New York
only
City.
does comedy shows at events where they invite him. In fact, and he
Yeah,
does the same comedy routine every time. He said so himself on Rogan's show when I was watching it way back when, before I smartened up and found out, and was like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that guy's
find
kind of
something
shit.
that works.
But I'm saying like I did in a past life I
Yeah,
used to watch Joe Rogan and he was on that and yeah I can see Leonard's a very affable gentleman. It doesn't seem like somebody who's had to offend anybody.
yeah.
But he certainly made upset me a lot in this movie with his racism. So, but
To be
anyway,
fair, that's stuff that was mostly probably written for him.
that's of course absolutely.
We can hope at
But
least that there
he
wasn't too
made an
much of
active
that.
decision to accept this role.
Yeah,
So like it was written for
yeah,
him. He made no objections, and and so it's equally on him as it is the writer, as it is the director, as it is the producer. Those people are the ones required to make the movie on a top of the line, above line perspective. And without those people, if they all just agreed to change the content, we wouldn't be having the discussion. But they didn't because
yeah,
probably because they were ignorant and didn't realize they were being racist. They thought they were just trying to be funny, right?
yeah.
Which it's all in the sense of trying to be a joke, but like you can still offend someone while telling a joke.
It's
Some
the
of the
whole thing
funniest
of
jokes, some of the funniest jokes I've ever heard in my entire life are unrepeatable on Twitch. As an
mhm.
example, I won't repeat that. Anybody will say it was really close to. Like some of the funniest jokes I've ever heard are the raunchiest, most fucked up things. Because if you do it right, it's a fucking classic.
Yeah. Um, would that we would never have to say the words "it was acceptable in the '80s" again. Like
Well, we shouldn't even be saying that.
there's
That's a
only
form of
there's only
excuse.
so many times we can say that, oh, it was a different time, and it's just like even if it was a
I'm
different
guilty of
time,
this,
doesn't
to be fair.
even if it was a different time, it doesn't make it better. It just means that it is important to understand that, just to understand like for the context
It
of it.
was a
But
different time, but it was still an
but that doesn't.
unacceptable thing.
Yes, yeah,
But the people who
exactly.
made this movie were probably too
They
stupid
didn't
to
know that.
realize, too
Yeah,
ignorant, excuse me, wrong word, too
ninety
ignorant,
percent of the populace didn't understand.
uneducated. They don't
You know?
know any better. They weren't, you know what I mean? Like, the populace itself is not educated and
Yeah,
spotting casual racism, even today.
even today, we've
Even
gotten
today,
some of us have gotten a little better.
I've definitely watched something and thought, oh, it's great, and then showed it to my friend, and they're like, that's racist, and then they tell me, I'm like, oh, I didn't know, because I don't know, I'm just a dumb white person. I don't know all. I don't know what's. I don't know what everything that's racist. Someone will tell me it's racist, and then I'll stop saying the thing. I, I know a very broad spectrum of things that are not acceptable to be said, and I don't say those things. Obviously, we got sidetracked again because I'm a little high.
It
Whatever
happens.
it takes. 1998. Andrew Dice Clay. Fred Williamson action film.
Andrew Dice Clay is way better in a buddy cop role than Jay Leno was. I'll put it that way. I still don't think he was good in the
Interesting
role,
perspective.
but I do think he was better than Jay Leno. I will say that. Um,
I think here. Okay, Andrew Dice Clay and Jay Leno as buddy cops though.
oh no! Oh
Honestly, I think I would
no!
have enjoyed Collision Course more
Ah!
if Andrew Dice Clay was playing the Jay Leno part. Honestly, it would have been just as offensive, but I would have chuckled more.
And it would have made sense because it's Andrew Dice Clay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just.
Allegedly.
But whatever it takes, it's a very meh movie. I
Whatever it
think the
takes, yes.
action scenes are pretty good for what they are, but you can also tell that Andrew Dice Clay was like, I don't know. He also did not necessarily fit in the role too well. But
This, so like,
you could tell there was stuff going on behind the scenes with him, maybe with somebody else or whatever. That was just like he was not delivering lines very
oh yeah,
well.
Don the Dragon Wilson is in this, and I totally fucking forgot.
And I genuinely felt like he had made the somebody behind the scenes give him a leather jacket that he could put on because he was embarrassed of his weight or something, or because he's
No,
known for wearing a leather
no
jacket,
for wearing the leather jacket,
And it's like,
supposedly.
yeah, and it's like I don't know why he's wearing the jacket in this scene and in this scene and literally every scene. And it's just
Because the
because
Dice Man, hey!
for the role, it doesn't necessarily make sense for that to be the case. But for Andrew Dice Clay, it makes sense. So it kind of was taking me out of that a little bit, taking
Yeah,
me
I
out of
get
the
it.
movie a bit.
That's all fair. It's all fair. No,
Yeah.
I totally understand. So it's about these two cops trying to break up a drug dealer ring dealing steroids. Like they treat them like they're like it's heroin. They treat it like it's like meth or something. Where you inject it and suddenly you're addicted and roided up like Hulk. Like oh, they treat it like PCP, I guess, right? That's what they treat it like it's some highly addictive, highly like it makes you all fucked up and like rage monster, and it's like yeah, prolonged use can make you a rage monster, but like it's not like an instantaneous thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
anyway,
It
this
felt a little goofy in the way that like Batman and Robin were goofy,
so after the VHS
That kind
boom
of goofiness.
in the early 90s when everything's kind of like flattened out and then VHS. This is the late end of VHS. This is the twilight era of VHS, right? So this is like a shelf filler on Blockbuster. So the budget on this is significantly less than the shelf fillers at your local video store 10 years prior. So this film feels anemic of plot and plods along for its entire runtime. And like it feels like an ungodly long 100 minutes. It needed to be 85 minutes at most. And I'm not one of those people who care about runtimes usually, but this movie plodded along. It was so boring. I forgot
Well,
Don Wilson was in it. The boredom literally consumed Don Wilson until I looked at the cast list and I'm like, oh yeah, Don Wilson's in this because it's the Dice Man and the Dragon and
yeah,
the
it was about
Hammer.
that
The
point that I
Dice
was
Man,
starting,
the Dragon, and the Hammer.
it was at
That's
that point that I was starting to wonder, wait a minute, has Don Wilson ever done a role where he wasn't the hero? Because
oh
it
sure.
sure seems like he likes to play the hero.
He does play a lot of heroes, but I'm sure he's been a bad guy here and there. He had to be.
Or the good cop, if you will.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch like fucking Cyber Tracker and Out for Blood
White
and
Hat.
and fucking what is that one? There's a one where he's fighting vampires. He's a vampire hunter. Night something or other. I can't remember what it's called.
I like Don Wilson. Don the Dragon Wilson.
Yeah,
He's pretty good.
he's a likable action star. He's my favorite of like the second tier like stars, the direct to video stars. What the fucking name
Yeah.
of that movie?
Future Kick. That's not the name of the movie, but I was just
Future
thinking
Kick's
of Future
great.
Kick.
Kick is one of his best direct to video movies. Like straight up, so good.
And pretty original too.
Infinitely fun. Like I want to own that. When that gets a Blu-ray, if
Hell
that
yeah.
gets a Vinegar Syndrome archive release, I'm
Vinegar
gonna lose my
Syndrome,
shit.
hear us. Hear us, Vinegar Syndrome.
Please,
Future Kick, Future Kick, Future Kick.
I need a
You did
VSA
that.
of
What did
the
they,
Future Kick.
Free Jack or whatever the fuck? No, Future Kick.
I want Free Jack too, though. For real.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Free Jack was really good too.
Free Jack's actually more likely to get released by Shout Factory, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
okay.
see that.
A Christmas Story Christmas. Tell me
Oh,
about this. What's the plot?
the plot is Ralphie's the adult now, and he has to put on the big, awesome Christmas that his dad used to put on when he
Curmudgeon
was a
Papa.
kid. Yeah. And his father's passed away, sadly. Oh, spoilers. I mean, it's not super important. Hey, it's central to the plot, but it's like something you learn in the first 5 minutes, you know? It's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You probably garnered that from watching a trailer. But anyways, um, the movie itself, it's very much a nostalgia movie. It's like if you've seen A Christmas Story a million times, there are references in this movie to a bunch of the most popular lines and moments in the original movie, and of course, they also have like uh, moments where they'll like be showing Ralphie's memory or whatever, and the memory is just, you know, scenes from the movie, but it's like interspersed with the current movie as well. So it looks kind of hazy or whatever the fuck, like a hazy memory.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and while I will say that I did enjoy this, I do not think that it's going to be as memorable and as much of like a watch every year kind of movie as A Christmas Story was. So,
We
yeah.
still have to watch Christmas Story 2 and the 4 Gene Shepard TV specials that continue Christmas Story.
And My Summer Story.
And My
Yeah.
Summer Story. Yeah, we got 6 fucking movies in this universe to watch.
I've seen My Summer Story a lot, but
I never
you
seen
haven't,
it.
right?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. I
Never
have the
seen it.
Blu-ray. I love it. But yes, there were elements of this movie that I felt like were um really good. I loved the nostalgia, but I love nostalgic movies to begin with because I grew up with nostalgic movies. There was this
We
whole
were raised
era
on
of
them.
movies that were
Yeah.
literally about nostalgia. You had Back to the Future, you had fucking Forrest Gump, you had a bunch of movies that were like all about nostalgia for the
I mean,
past.
Jurassic Park in a way.
Indiana Jones to a
Jurassic Park's
degree.
a callback to like the classic adventure films with dinosaurs in them.
Yeah.
Shit.
Indiana Jones too, the adventure serials,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like
I mean, Star
they
Wars
were
itself is a callback, as a nostalgia film for Flash Gordon serials
a lot of the
and
movies
samurai
of the
films.
80s were nostalgic for movies of the 50s
Mm-hmm.
and serials and stuff like that as well. So having grown up in that era of nostalgic content everywhere, of course I love seeing a nostalgic movie because honestly, I feel like there aren't that many movies that focus like solely on nostalgia anymore. And nostalgia, I would think, would be the perfect thing for a holiday movie because holidays are the time that you're nostalgic for better times when you're a kid or whatever, if you ever had them. But most, yeah, regardless, like that's an issue that's going to cause someone not to want to watch any Christmas movies if they did not have uh, any nostalgic memories of Christmas in the past. So,
Which I don't, but which is why
yes,
I'm not big on Christmas movies, but we watch them anyways because some of them are really good.
But
Or running out of
yeah.
classics to watch, and I'm at the point where I'm like, maybe.
So this might be a movie that I would watch every 4 or 5 years or something like that, but it's not really. It's not an instant
I
classic.
can see myself
Don't go into
watching
it
it in 10
expecting
years.
an instant classic.
I can see myself watching it in 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to watching it again. Definitely was my favorite. I give it a single thumbs up.
Yep. Same here. One thumb up. Not. It's like a 7 out of 10. I don't know.
A friend! Whoa!
Let's whoa.
Oh,
What's
I gotta
whoa?
ban someone.
Oh, okay. I see. Something stupid is happening.
Man!
Wonderful.
New follower ended up being a garbage ass bot. Be gone, thought! Um,
Speaking of better Christmas movies, I think we watched a couple of them.
alright,
One or
well,
two.
we're not covering most of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Next up, Blind Fury. My
Oh,
favorite
Blind
Christmas
Fury.
movie.
A Christmas movie called Blind Fury. Now, it's a movie that's taking the concept from a Zatoichi film, right?
From the concept of Zatoichi in general, but yes, it's
Oh,
also
from
the
the
story of.
concept.
It's
Okay.
also a remake of the story of Samaritan Zatoichi, I think.
But it's the Americanized version of it, you
Starring
know,
Rutger Hauer.
starring Rutger Hauer. Honestly, it's not bad, but it's like in the same way that you could watch the remake of Old Boy and you wouldn't necessarily hate it. There are
Oh, it's not even that bad. It's pretty good. What are you talking
a
about?
lot of American remakes that were not bad. Some that I prefer actually, like the Vanishing remake, because that one was actually done also by the same director, and I like that one better. But anyway,
Okay.
this movie, Blind Fury, was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was memorable to me though. I think it was just okay.
So, yeah, it's so the
I
story
liked it
is
because it was like Zatoichi.
Zatoichi. I mean, Rutger Hauer
Yeah.
is I can't remember what his reason for being there, but he gets entangled with this mom and son, and the mom gets killed, and he has to take the son to his father in California, so that they go on a road trip. It's all the same premise of Zatoichi, Samaritan Zatoichi. But they have like classic Zatoichi gags, like kid feeds Zatoichi the rock. A guy, like he accidentally, bumblingly fumbles through a fight scene and beats somebody by mistake or whatever because he's quote unquote blind. Like there's also just like little gags like that you always see in these in Zatoichi films, right? It's like a best of Zatoichi movie. So it's got stuff from that outside of Samaritan Zatoichi and little sequences like the best parts from all these parts of a bunch of Zatoichi films. I I gave this one like a solid thumbs up, almost a two thumbs up. Like it's pretty close to a two thumbs up movie, just because it's just a fun. It's a fun adaptation of the concept.
Yeah, I give it a thumbs up too.
Yeah, I really liked it. Rutger Hauer did a good job. I'm not a blind person, so I can't speak for his portrayal of a blind person as an able-bodied person, able to seeing person. So it's a little bit ableist, but once again, he probably didn't think about it like that,
Yeah.
like an ignorance. It's not okay, but you just kind of go like, fuck, like, I feel
Anytime
like,
you delve into the 80s and 90s in movies, then
especially
you're gonna have to think about that.
anything older than like
There's a good chance at least
2015,
you're gonna have to.
I mean, might be hitting some landmines, especially in the comedy.
There were some movies at that time that were probably considered quite subversive that by today's standards are far more acceptable than in terms of that kind of stuff than some of the stuff that was accepted more at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Christmas Carol, 1938.
um, well, I hadn't watched this one yet, and I do think it was pretty damn good. I don't think it's my favorite Christmas Carol,
There's still
but
Muppets.
like it's pretty damn good. It's in the top five for sure. Put it
Muppets
that way.
Christmas Carol's my favorite.
Yeah. I I don't know. I want to say that's my favorite. It's got to be like for sure. Like as an overall overarching
Which one do you
thing,
watch every
yeah,
year?
that one for sure. But I also watch every year like the Alistair Sim one because it's
We also watch Scrooge, which is
there
also
are
Christmas
so
Carol.
many things like in the Alistair Sim version that are just so good. But the 1938 version was also had like a feel to it that was I don't know kind of colder. At least to me, it felt colder and harsher than some of the other adaptations,
Interesting.
and I dug that about it.
What I like about this one, especially, is that it's the heaviest influence on the Muppet Christmas Carol, especially in the presentation of the three Christmas spirits. Like, Come In and Know Me Better Man, it's literally from this fucking movie, which is from the book, but the way he says it, it's the cadence in which he says it, which is
Mhm.
the same as the character in Christmas Carol, which is how you know it's in a reference to that very specific portrayal. Plus, that puppet is a fucking representation of this fucking character portrayed by in this movie. I mean, like,
Gotta be.
it has to be. Uh, like I love this movie. I really, I think this is my third favorite. It's my second favorite. My second favorite Christmas Carol. First one being Muppets. Can't be topped. I watch it every damn year. The one I watch most years is Scrooge. And that's number three.
I love Scrooge. Yeah,
That's my top three. Christmas carols.
I would put this one at four, and at number two, I would put the Alistair Sim. That's my ranking. But
What's your
yes,
number
like it's
three?
my number three is also Scrooge. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's definitely an adaptation of Christmas Carol that I think is worth checking out if you haven't already.
100%. Highly recommend it.
And I know there are so many different adaptations out there, but like, you got to watch them to see which ones you like the best
Plus,
so
each
that
one
you don't
has
have to
like
watch the
different,
other.
has a few different scenes from the others that are like extrapolated from the book. So I almost feel
Yes.
like you can make a super cut with all the scenes from the book, plus all the new added scenes that people have made, and make this like super epic long Christmas Carol movie.
That would be disjointed as fuck, but very interesting.
I'd love to watch it honestly.
It kind of would, I think at a point it would probably become kind of like that. What is that one weird movie you made me watch? It was like an amalgamation of clips about the
The Great
devil,
Satan.
the Great Saint. Yeah. It
Film
would
found
end up being a little bit
filmed
like that.
it's from the who are they called? The found footage guys. Film. Oh god, VCR Party guys. I don't remember their their the festival is called Found Footage Festival, I think.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's one of their
But
first like movies, and it's very good. Um, it's disjointed, but it's fascinating. You know.
yeah. So I think a movie like that would end up becoming a little bit like that because you'd be going from, this classic black and white film from the 30s
Mm-hmm.
to suddenly it's the CGI animated Disney movie because there's a scene in there that isn't in any other fucking version of the movie. And then suddenly we're going back to the Muppet Christmas Carol and it would just be going all over the fucking place.
So I have this like this movie. I have two different movies. I have one movie where it's a bunch of James Bond movies cut together, called like Kill Die Spy or some shit like that. I can't remember. I have it downloaded on I have it on my cloud storage, of course. And there's another one where it is a love story about film, but the way it's told is every couple seconds they give you a different clip from a different movie. So the protagonist is constantly changing.
Ah,
I'm like, oh, I don't know what it's
that's
called,
so.
but I downloaded that one too.
And yeah, I'm not saying that. Whoa, you shouldn't do it because
No, no,
it
no.
would be disjointed. I'm just saying
But I'm saying like
that's what it would end up being like, and I
you
think
just
that's
remind me that like those two
interesting.
things I have that are also disjointed that I've been wanting to watch. Like anyway,
Right on.
it's just cool. What do we got next? What do we got next? We got Glass Onion. Why don't you tell folks what Glass Onion's about?
It's the sequel to Knives Out, more or
Okay.
less. Um, we follow around Benoit. Is it Benoit Blanc?
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc.
Monsieur Blanc.
Um, he ostensibly, that's my new favorite word, ostensibly,
He's ostentatious. Okay.
he gets invited to a party of a mega rich billionaire by the name of Elon Musk. I mean, shit, what was his name again?
Mm.
Same person,
Some guy
basically.
who's just Elon Musk.
It's like, let's be honest here. But um, on his island that is powered by this super fuel or something like that,
Highly
and
explosive. Well, continue. I almost said spoiler. Whoopsie.
uh, and he ends up on this island with all these other
Miles
people.
Braun is his name.
Yeah, and there's like a murder mystery game that the rich
Miles
Elon
Braun.
Musk guy, Miles Braun, set up, and like that was the point of the whole thing, is having them all there to solve like a murder mystery game, or at least that, again, ostensibly that was the claim. That was the claim that was
Mm-hmm.
made.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but Benoit Blanc ends up like solving the fake murder mystery game before it even fucking starts.
And then a real, actual mystery unfolds.
And then the whole actual movie with the actual mystery and killing begins. Um, yeah, it's quite good. Now, I do think um, I mean, it's very political. I
Oh,
would say
very.
that.
Oh, very.
It's very much. It feels like Ryan Johnson had a lot of fun making this, and by that I mean he went deep into making the kind of movie that he wanted to make with the kind of message that he wanted to have, and was given free reign more or less to do so, or more free reign than most would be given. And it shows, because I personally like it. I personally like his message. But if you didn't like his message, you might not like the movie, because it's like, it's pretty upfront and in your face. It's not necessarily. I see a lot of people talking about the movie either from the perspective of like of a fart sniffing asshole, like fucking, um, this is the best thing ever. Oh, it's all rich with subtext, right? Or that, or they'll be talking about the subtext like it's not that important or whatever, or that they don't agree with what the subtext has to say or
The
whatever.
subtext is definitely
Um,
there, like very
but
loud.
it's like, but that's what I'm saying. It's not even really that subtextual. It's very surface, all this
It's
stuff.
textual,
But
which is
you
okay.
see people talking about it on either end of the spectrum, as if no, there's some depth there, and I'm like, my whole toe wouldn't fit in the pool of water of depth that you're talking about
Okay.
there. It's so close to the
You
surface
think it's
there that like
shallow, is what you're saying.
anyone could understand what he's trying to say with this movie. It's And so if this is your first, I don't know.
So
I
what's your
feel like
real?
I'm
Hold
being an
on.
asshole. If this is your first rodeo or whatever, then okay, and you're happy that you're starting to see subtext when you didn't before, then cool. Glad to have you on board. But if it's not your first rodeo and you're familiar with how to spot subtext, then it's just so weird seeing people talk about it like it's, you
There's
know,
actually quite a lot of depth in the
way more
movie,
subtext.
but it's not in this political present messaging. That's textual.
Fair.
There is subtext to be found in this movie about perspectives, about perception, about
Hmm.
changes in all those things, about oftentimes they present thing in an ostentatious way, big, loud, and it's a very shallow thing. Within the context of the film, it's shallow, and Blanc just looks bored for like the first 10 minutes of him being on this island.
Oh yeah, I think the
Everyone's like ooh
shallowness
nah
actually
and
works.
stuff. Like here's the thing: he claims the one piece of art to Banksy, but it looks nothing like an actual Banksy piece of art, because and Serena Williams there is there to give a personal training lessons to anybody who's on premises. There's another thing. There's a couple other things representations. When you look at these things, what do you see? You see a rich person who sees someone who's talented, and instead of asking them to do what they want to do, what they're good at, he asks them what he thinks they would be good at. Serena Williams is a great tennis player, and while I think she would be a decent personal trainer, I don't think that's where her focus is. So you would actually be better having a no-name personal trainer on premises to teach you. I mean, no disrespect to Serena Williams, who's an incredible, or Venus, I can't remember which one was in the movie. To be fair, one of the Williams sisters, who's an incredible like athlete. I will take nothing away from her and either of them. But like, that's the point. It's not a real Banksy. They got Banksy. He hired Banksy to come and paint his dock. That's not what Banksy does. Banksy does stencil spray paint art, a political messaging art, and none of that's present. The Glass Onion is a representation of that. Hell, he got someone who's good at one thing, but not good at the thing he wants them. He's using them for. Everything's like that, and everything in his life. He has the Mona Lisa there. For what reason? To show off. Like
Hmm.
he just, and then the whole thing with the Mona Lisa, of course, happens. The thing about the Mona Lisa is he's so stupid. He doesn't realize he doesn't have the real Mona Lisa. The real Mona Lisa is much fucking smaller than that. It's a very tiny painting. That's a huge painting in this movie. That's not the real Mona Lisa. But he's too fucking stupid to think so. He just thinks, oh, Big brought money, so he painted the fucking the museum. The museum probably just put fucking Mona Lisa in the storage and gave him some mock up. And he's too fucking ignorant to understand that. And that's the point. That's the real subtext a lot of these times. It's about how rich people are often very vapid with the presentation of even their knowledges
Yep.
because they're trying to impress the most vapid of people.
Yep.
Anyway,
Very true. Very true.
Glass
See,
Onion
that's what I'm
rant
trying to.
over.
Yes, the shallowness in that way kind of works for it because honestly, I feel like it adds to the humor of the movie. Because if you understand the shallow commentary on the surface there, then you can when it's brought to light by Benoit Blanc, it's just like you chuckle a little because it's funny. He's bringing up what you are noticing already within the plot, right? It's funny.
All right.
I really like this movie. This
Oh, two
two
thumbs
thumbs
up.
up.
Two huge thumbs up. It's a favorite. Buying it.
I might even like it better than the original Knives Out, but not by much, mind you. It's just
I like.
I really like this
I
movie.
agree, but I also think that it takes everything from Knives Out and builds upon it that we know the character of
Yeah.
Benoit Blanc. So the first movie is presenting him as him in his natural element, and then the next movie he's interacting with these sycophants and these fucking weirdos and not weirdos and these like rich people and these shallow ignoramuses
Mhm.
and like and he's having and that's where the interest is. He's and there's also people who are really intelligent but only in a specific way. Like Edward Norton's character, he's very intelligent in a very specific way. He's too rich for anyone to tell him know about that though, so that's the problem.
Yep.
He surrounds himself with obviously with yes men. All right, why don't you tell us about It Happened One Night?
It
What you got?
Happened One Night is one of my favorite romance films, romantic comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I saw it in college at some point, but it's about a young heiress who is set to marry somebody she doesn't necessarily like, um, and she runs off. runs away from her father. God, were they on a houseboat at the time? But like,
I can't remember.
it's like the 1920s. It's the night. It's the time period of the Roaring Twenties, going into the Great Depression, basically. And so you have this very wealthy character, this very wealthy young woman who's just like kind of rejecting her wealth and running off and uh, trying to. I think initially she was trying to get to the guy she wanted to that she's marrying, and because her father didn't want her to marry that guy, but she ran off to marry him anyway, basically.
Hmm.
Um, but along the way, she ends up, hitching or not hitching a ride, but getting on a train,
Bus.
and it was a bus. Yes, it was a
It was
bus.
bus.
Okay,
Yep.
but
I
it was
remember
a
because I was at
train.
the
I'm
bus station.
remembering that. I remember. Oh,
And
it
she
was a
missed her
bus
bus.
station. I thought it was a train
It might have been
station.
transportation on both,
Bus.
but she missed the
Yeah,
bus very specifically.
yeah, you're right. It was a bus. Um, So she misses her bus and ends up on the same bus with this guy who we
New reporter.
discover is like
News
a
reporter.
news reporter. Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't think of it. Wow.
And
Anyway.
he ends up like uh, trying to help her. And eventually, because he sees something in it, because he realizes who she is, and he's like, I want to get the story, right?
Hmm.
But as time goes along and they're making their way to New York over the course of a few days, it becomes like a road movie. That's, I think, my favorite part about it is like it's a road movie.
Hmm.
You know, I love this movie for the same reason that I like planes, trains, and automobiles because there's a lot of the same kind of stuff happening. They end up trying to hitch a ride at one point. Um, they end up at a sleazy, crappy motel or hotel at one point, like a hovel that they have to stay in for the night, you know. And it seems like everything is going wrong. Uh, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles very much is probably taking from this movie, to be honest. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it. And of course, as with all good romantic comedies, they do end up falling in love and all that good stuff. Yes.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Like, their interactions are what you're here for. These, like, I mean, they like all good. Oh, hi, Autumn. You're so cute. Like all good films in the genre. The two people don't like each other at the beginning. That's how it
Yep.
works. Oil and water, and then like eventually they figure their shit out,
Yep.
and we find out they're actually in love with each other, and they can't live without each other. And hi,
I
kitty.
think I think my favorite part about it though is that the characters are genuinely likable.
Oh
While
yeah.
there are certain elements that you don't necessarily like, it's like
Oh, of
this
course.
guy specifically is like one of the nicest male figures in a Hollywood movie that I can remember seeing from that period or any other. It's just like there's very little that's objectionably bad about him, objectively bad about him. So yeah, I would say like, hey, if you're looking for positive male role models, that's kind of maybe somebody you could look to. Maybe.
Weird hill to die on, but at least you're dead. I really like this movie. I give it a thumbs up. I think it's a good movie. I think it's one of the better romantic comedies. And
Two
yeah,
thumbs up.
I know
Very
it's one of
cool.
your favorites.
Yeah.
And our 400th movie to be reviewed on this channel is I'm proud to present We Are Sasquatch by Joel Haver, who is a YouTuber, comedian, and animator, and he's a filmmaker, and he makes these films in the Zen filmmaking style. So he just calls them improv, like, because that's what they are. But, um, fucking, oh, I went blank. Blah, 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 blah. Max, hell, I got what's his name? Oh yeah, so but like if anybody, any long time or maybe older film viewers might know a director named Scott Shaw, who's directed like I don't know 30 movies or something, because he does a form of filmmaking called Zen filmmaking, no script, and they just go and make a movie, and that's what Joel Haber does. He goes and just makes the movie. That's what he does. And this one's a mockumentary about the fact that they discovered Sasquatches were real and that they were just big hairy people. And then there's a long struggle for integration and equality that mirrors similar struggles that have happened for
Yes.
generations in this country. And then it no longer lingers on any of that. And then we're talking about these boys trying to win a talent contest. These Sasquatch boys trying to win a talent contest. And then that plot line
Quickly,
ends. And then they're looking in the woods for a rare cryptid of some sort. And then, yeah, so the movie's a little
it
episodic.
devolves into Street Team Massacre very quick.
So,
But the premise is so. I love that it's chaotic because you have no fucking clue where this movie is going to end up. You have
oh
no
yeah.
clue. You're
Oh,
just like, maybe this is the ending. Nope, they're going off in some weird fucking direction.
now I love this movie. To be clear, I gave this a 7 out of 10, almost an 8 out of 10. Like it's a thumbs up, almost two thumbs up, and I just even I felt it was still a little disjointed. And it felt like they literally finished the plot, realized they were only at 45 minutes or an hour, and like we gotta pad this fucker out. So what else can we do? And that's what we got to the rest of this movie. That's not even a criticism so much as I tip my hat. I've been in similar situations in film school, so
The original concept, I will say, for the plot is really creative. I mean,
it's really good
I would
for.
not
I
have
mean,
thought to make a movie like that. That's the wildest concept I've seen in a while. I don't know. It
and
almost
seriously,
feels
no one's
like,
gonna green like that, so he had to just do it
yeah,
himself, and he did it, and it worked. Actually, it works.
yeah.
It's like a no budget film, and these people you can tell everyone's having a blast, doing their best, and that passion really bleeds through, and it's just a charming little movie, and you can watch it
Yeah,
for free on YouTube. And it's not even illegal. It's just what he put it there for you to watch.
yeah. Go watch it. It's worth your time
Yeah,
to see something very weird,
I mean, I'm stuck
unique,
on. I'm like kind
fucking
of.
unique.
I'm fucking obsessed with these micro budget cinema films. So there's a couple of them here what we're going to be talking about.
Oh yeah, thumbs up by the way. Yes,
Hmm.
very big thumbs
Um,
up on it.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. You can see how young he is. He's like really just enthusiastically trying to make a movie, and yeah, I don't know.
If you hear
There's
a
something about it.
thumping, it's my cat's tail.
Okay, next up is Escape from L.A.
um, I swear the last time I saw this was like on TV in the 90s, you know? It's been
Yeah,
so long since I've seen this movie that I didn't remember much of anything about it. Didn't even remember that it was basically just a remake of the original
it's a
movie.
requel.
It's a requel,
My
yeah.
favorite, not really. I I saw this in theaters. I drive-in theaters very specifically. I with I think I want to say it was like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know which was the A feature and what was B feature, but whatever one came out first was the A feature, and whatever
Romeo
one was
plus Juliet, or
yes,
okay.
weird combo. I know. Um, but like yeah, it really is just a remake of the fucking first movie. They reference the last movie. Also, there's a really, really, really cringe representation of a trans person in the movie.
In
The Escape from
Romeo and
yeah, Bob. No,
oh yes, no, no, yeah, yeah, you're
Escape from
right,
New
you're
York,
right.
L.A.
I
Dork.
was I was like in this place.
Yeah,
No, we're going back over here. Yes.
the character deliberately tells
Quite offensive,
him
yeah.
her name, and then he continues a fucking dead name for the rest of the movie.
That's true, yeah. It's like, well, fuck's sake.
Snake's a
Like, hey,
character.
I think I know why people, maybe one of the reasons people think it's acceptable to act like this. You know, maybe people saw this movie and just it got
Little things like this.
instinctually into their heads, like, yeah,
It's not
this
just
is
one movie. It's a consistent.
that's what makes this a microaggression, by the way. Yeah.
It's a consistent. It happens all the time in movies in this era.
Yeah.
You know, the shocked disgust that oh no, a woman has a dick. That's a big one. That's a big
I think it's
one.
important to understand that from the perspective of a film of watching movies and how that impacts the way you think about the world and why what role microaggressions play in that because or how to determine them in film, right? Because you can see how something like that somebody they wouldn't even think about it at the time,
First, we
but
gotta stop calling them
they
microaggressions. It's just aggressive.
okay,
It's just
all right,
aggression.
yeah, and they well, the only reason I bring that up is because it's a whole bunch of them combining up, you know what I mean, in
The
people's
size
heads,
doesn't matter. It's an aggressive. It's aggression
yeah, yeah.
regardless. Microaggression makes it like you're like
It does make it seem like it's small and
and
not important.
insignificant. Yeah,
Yeah, I get what
the
you're
size
saying.
does not matter, as we all
But
know.
yeah, but over time you see things like that in film, and you might even not even realize that it's getting into your head that this is an acceptable thing to do.
Yeah,
But
all you've seen
it
is
does
movie after
get into
movie.
your head. A lot of people gets into their head like that.
It's movie after movie after movie that tells you it's
Yeah.
okay to ignore trans women's proper names. It's proper. It's totally okay to be shocked, disgusted, nauseated by the fact that oh no, you accidentally slept with a woman with a penis. Oh no, you were attracted to a woman with a penis. Oh no, it's all homophobic shit, of course. It's always homophobic and transphobic. It's like
Yeah.
horror there.
Which kind of
It's just like
explains what you know.
ultimately, just please stop being shamed by penises, weird men.
Yeah.
I know. Society has taught you that male nudity is disgusting and to be avoided, but like, chill out, y'all. Fucking adults.
What I will say about this movie is that the one thing I did like about it is that, um, at least socially, in terms of social commentary, I felt like John Carpenter took this into a much darker place even
Mm-hmm.
than Escape from New York was. And I don't know, something about that I dug that because I was like, it almost felt like he was finally getting the chance to tell the story he actually wanted to tell, but didn't really get the chance to the first time or something. But regardless, could have done without the fucking transphobia.
See, that transphobia, that's how you get things like Curse of the Queer Wolf.
Yeah,
Like, they think that's
yeah.
funny. They make that movie think like they're being funny, running his gag on the ground. It was being really hateful, though. The whole movie. From one end to the other.
I the whole time we were watching that, I was like, how is she even still watching this? Why is she still you
I was fucking angry at
know?
it the whole time.
You just hate watching it the whole time. Rightfully so,
Look,
I
it was more
suppose.
entertaining than Road Wars, okay?
Yeah, it was so boring. That Road Wars was very, very, very dull.
I
You
won't
think
review it because I
Zardoz
didn't
was
finish it.
dull?
Because it's a rare movie I didn't
Wow.
finish.
The Asylum,
I could
not always
honestly
known
say
for
less than
quality.
10 movies I have turned off
I
ever.
just wish that more Asylum movies would be entertaining. It's not like, I mean, fucking
That new one's coming out, the crossover movie. That's
the
gonna be
fuck.
so bad.
I keep thinking about how Lloyd Kaufman manages to put out these movies that are just
Ah,
grossly offensive, but also at the same time, like, and they at least keep you engaged to a certain degree.
I mean,
And I feel like Asylum does not keep you engaged.
some of those Trump movies are good, and some of those movies are like yikes the whole way.
Yeah.
You know, like Jesus Christ. At least Lloyd Kaufman understands the value of a good joke, regardless of its content, and
Yeah.
understands an actual. He understands humor. At least when he strings and misses, you're like, well, but he has a record of not missing in this movie, so you're like, and then you just keep
Yeah.
going. But like, yeah, I don't know how I sat through all of Clear Wolf either.
All right, fuck that movie.
I could
That's
never
how you assess.
recommend it. Mm-mm.
Fuck it.
So transphobic, it hurt.
Traumatic experience. That's what I was just going to ask.
31 Days in Marshall, North Carolina.
Back to Joe Haber.
Yeah.
Um, I like this one a little bit better than the other one, but
Actually, we are Sasquatch a little
um,
bit better, but, you know.
yeah, this is the one I disagreed with you on.
Right. I am. I know.
But because I don't know, it's a little bit more relatable, I guess, and I like the concept of just following this guy around as for 30 days he's trying to get his fucking car fixed, but he keeps getting the runaround or something happens over here, and it's like,
We can find
well,
out something new wrong with the car, which is very
and he
relatable.
ends up staying a few nights at this weird commune place, and then he just ends up going all over the place and meeting all these different people and having all these weird experiences. And at one point, there's like a trapeze artist even whose house he gets to spend some time in or whatever. It's like just it's a movie where you get to experience somebody experiencing all this random stuff happening.
This is episodic, but intentionally so, because this is a slice of life movie about a guy who's intended to stay only 3 days, ends up staying 31 days. And the premise is based on the fact that Joel Haver and the main actor, Dylan, I can't remember his name, they went to Marshall, North Carolina, and just met people and made a movie. 30 days, 31 days.
Mm-hmm.
So we're watching that unfold, basically. So the episodic nature is built into the premise, and it feels less disjointed that way.
I think the thing I really liked about it is that, like, if you knew the kind of stuff that I watch to relax and chill out on YouTube, it's not the kind of stuff you would expect me to watch. I watch shit like fucking uh outdoors and camping videos, which I wouldn't have thought I would fucking care about at all because I don't really. But it's like I look at them like this is an experience I wouldn't normally have. And I would like to see what that experience is like for other people. You know what I
Interesting.
mean? And in that same way, this movie had that appeal to me of like, this is something that I would watch if I was trying to go to sleep. Not because it's boring, but because it's just kind of vaguely interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hate it necessarily, you know? I'm going to find it intriguing in that it provides me a look at a different experience. You
Right.
have anything else to say?
Um. Well, I
Sorry, I
have
had a cat making a
I would say
disaster happen
this
here.
movie never feels boring because there's always either the most interesting weird person you've ever seen on screen, or the strangest shit's happening, or the most fucking absurd dialogue is happening. Like there's never a dull moment in this movie, not for a single second. It's a really great movie. I did not like it as much as I like as We Are Sasquatch, but that is like such a it's like splitting hairs. I think they're both rated 7 out of 10, as for example. You know, but if this is any
Yeah.
sign, I think the next couple of movies are gonna be really great from him. I'm very
Yeah.
much looking forward to his pandemic films because that's where he really started blossoming. I mean, he's talking about it himself on his second channel. And so I'm like, ooh, I'm fascinated. Especially he does that whole movie where he plays two characters in a relationship breaking up. And I'm like, damn, how do you wrap your head around both ends of that? That's really hard as an actor, much less as a writer, much less as a director, much less all three at once.
Mhm.
So that to me, like just that alone, is immediately like, ooh, I'm very interested in this. Um, but yeah, highly recommend Joel Haver's films. They're on YouTube, all but one of them, which he said he took down for personal reasons. Which
Oh.
is like I understand, but at the same time, bummer. I wanted to watch that one
It's
because
like, oh shit.
I
How
can't
did this
100% the
first
director's
one?
work. This is bullshit. But at the same time, I totally understand. So it's like, yeah, okay, cool, cool.
Come on, let us
Let me
see.
see. Let's see. Show me. All right. Where are we? No, wrong button. I closed my window. Come
What have you
back.
done?
I can't tell what movie's next. Oh
What
yeah,
have
we
you done?
skipped Queer Wolf because fuck that movie. Smile 2022.
Smile. Um, I remember the ad campaign for this one, the stupid Twitter thing where you get out if you post a certain thing, it makes it go
So
upside down or whatever.
I like what I liked about this film was it presented a very interesting example of an intrusive thought that you can't get to go away until you do the thing.
Yeah,
So
well,
that aspect I did like about it. I'm gonna talk about the things I did like about it
okay,
first.
fair, fair.
I liked that there were some very good scenes of tension, especially near the end.
Yes.
I liked the realistic, shocking gore that would happen out of nowhere. I thought it was well placed and well used, and sparingly so. It wasn't excessively gory for the shock factor, as an example, you
Yeah.
know. And I think the main actress did a really good job presenting someone who is just tired, just so
Mhm.
fucking tired of everything. People not believing her, suffering with this intrusive thought she can't get rid of, and like I fucking really liked that part of it. Now,
I also like the really
what did you
I
like?
agree, but I also like the ending of it specifically. Well, um while it was not necessarily the most impressive thing ever, it was like it was still not what I was expecting. And I was so happy that it wasn't what I was expecting because what I was expecting was something very mediocre. Um, but uh, what it ended up being was like, holy, you would not have expected it. So for that reason alone, I dug it. But
It's also an
there are
interesting.
all the other things we need to
There
talk
is an
about.
interesting thing. I like the content, the context of like trauma spreads, like being inflicted by trauma. Sometimes that makes you cause trauma to other people. That's not. I mean, that's a natural state of like being a survivor of trauma. You have to be careful because it's very easy to enact trauma because you don't have a sense of what's normal anymore. You know, so it's very easy to accidentally, without intent, without cruel intent, to enact things that are forms of violence. Maybe not direct violence, but forms of like emotional violence or whatever to people without realizing it. It's just because your trauma has done this to you, like inflicted itself on you. You've been inflicted with trauma, and now you're unintentionally inflicting other people with trauma. In this case, it's presented in the very, very offensive form of you have to purposely commit trauma to free yourself from your trauma. That's the actual message
Yeah.
of the text, not the subtext, the text of the movie. Because to get rid of this fucking infection, you have to basically kill someone or cause trauma on someone else that has to witness it so that it passes on. This curse or whatever. So,
Mhm.
like, the messaging behind it is basically like those with trauma will inflict with trauma to make themselves feel better, and that just feels horribly misdirected. I don't think the director intended or the creators intended for that to be an outcome, but that is the outcome they unintendedly produced.
And can I just say, I am very, very tired of movies that depict, uh, mental health issues and stuff like that, that go back to the old trope of mother issues, which stems
Oh
back to
yeah,
like fucking Freudian nonsense bullshit that has been considered by, the academics in this field to be bullshit for at least 30 fucking years now. It has been a long time since
longer
we
than
all
that.
collectively agreed
50,
that Freud
closer
was
to
full of
50.
shit and that the whole you have mother issues thing is a stupid, terrible interpretation of what's actually
I
happening.
think
So even though it doesn't directly do that necessarily in this movie, it implies it. And I'm like, can we please just not? Can we please not? I'm so
to be
tired of
fair, the
that.
people
I'm
doing it
so tired of
were people in the complete wrong trying to convince her she's like crazy and stuff. So like, I think the messaging is those people are in the wrong, but like I don't think it conveys it well enough. I think the other thing is this is jump scare city. Only jump scare that actually got me was the one where I wasn't paying attention and a loud noise happened, like the third jump scare in the movie or whatever. And after that, not a single jump scare got me. There was, and not that every jump scares have to get you, but the reason it didn't get me is because they were not paced well. I saw them coming, not because I know the pieces of making the scene, but because those strokes were so broad. They pointed, hey, with a big neon sign, warning, jump scare inbound. Okay, so like it's about a quality of presentation of the jump scares. I think jump scares, for example, The Descent, a movie that I have seen 50-something times, and every single jump scare makes me jump. It's so well constructed because each time you're watching it, it makes you think, "Oh, it's coming now." No, it's coming now. No, oh shit! Damn it, motherfucker! It's The Descent is one of the best jump scare like heavy movies, hands down. I will die on that hill. There are a lot of jump scare movies, but that one is one of the best movies that heavily leans on jump scares.
Yeah. Another issue I had with the scares in this movie, at least, is that they commit the fatal flaw of relying on killing a cat to scare.
Oh yeah, killing the animals. Yeah.
And killing the animal in general, but especially a cat. Oh no, you did not.
No, you
No.
didn't. As somebody who has had to deal with healthcare professionals that didn't believe me, and family members who had trouble believing me, it is very triggering watching this movie. So if you have sensitivities to those kind of things, you're not gonna enjoy this movie. I give this movie big fat thumbs down.
Yep, I was around here, and then no.
Thumbs down, just straight up thumbs down.
After the movie, I was at around here, right? And then as time went on, and I was reading all these comments online from other people who sing it, just to see what their thoughts were and everything. I came more to the conclusion, not because of them. Actually, most people liked it more than I did, but I came to the conclusion, thinking back to things like the cat being killed and stuff. I'm like, nah, fuck it, fuck it.
Didn't like it. There are so many better movies. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn. I want to watch Lights Out so I can thumbs down that fucker too.
It does some good things. There are some things in this movie that are good, but
most of them are good.
Yeah.
But
Watch it once and then toss it out.
I don't even know if you should watch it once. I can't recommend it. I don't think many people are going to like this movie.
Yeah.
Most people I know didn't like it all that much. They didn't hate it, but they were like, eh. Like, I will buy a lot of horror films for cheap on Black Friday, but this is a movie I'd pass up for $5. And
I'd pass it up for $4. Fuck that.
I mean, like, I'll buy almost anything for $5 or less when it comes to a movie.
If there is a place that I know of in Olympia where they sometimes have like DVDs and Blu-rays that they'll put in like a quarter bin. If I saw this in a quarter bin, maybe.
Nope. Still wouldn't pay. I wouldn't even pay a quarter. Not one goddamn penny for that movie. Look, if you gifted it to me, I might be offended. Okay, it's not something I ever really have any interest in watching again. God help me if I date someone who ends up having this as their favorite movie. Because I'll end up watching it again, but like...
And then you'll be ranting at them like, do you see how stupid...
No, I'll be messaging you the whole time. God fucking damn it, Justin, I can't believe I predicted this bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck! The things I do to get laid! The things I do for love!
The things you do for love. I have that beat. You know what?
I've never done anything crazy.
You know what stupid shit I watched with the the last person
Yeah,
was
don't
a
say
long
names.
fucking time ago.
Yeah, I know
But
who you're talking about. But
uh, fucking Duck Dynasty. I sat there and watched Duck Dynasty with her and pretended to enjoy it.
damn,
How low do you have to be?
bro,
How low do you
I
have
will
to
sit
be?
through that, but I won't pretend to enjoy it.
I had such terrible self confidence. Oh my goodness.
Bro, my brother, unbiological brother, is someone who's not I'm not related to at all. He's not actually my brother, but he loves Duck Dynasty. Like, not like big fan of it. Like, loves to laugh at these people. He watches. We watched a few episodes, and he's fucking crying. He's fucking crying because he just thinks so little of them. Like, I'm just like, at least you're having fun. I used to buy him Duck Dynasty things as a gag gift every now and then just to fuck with him.
Like, okay, if this is what you like.
His one apartment, you'd go into his apartment, and that's where I kept all his bathroom, his guest bathroom, his second bathroom was where he kept all his Duck Dynasty stuff. So he had a Duck Dynasty bathroom with like toilet cover and like a bath
I
floor
mean,
mat.
to
And
be fair,
the uncle,
everyone
the
has
big
their
guy,
shit.
the guy with the big gray beard, the uncle, he's on a fucking shower curtain, and there's like a shelf full of knickknacks, and I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at? This is what." Ah! I had a shit for like a month solid in that bathroom. Have Uncle staring at Uncle Si right in the fucking face, dude. Like, he put a goddamn picture of the whole goddamn group eye level when you're pooping. Like, he's this bastard. He keeps, and it's a joke to him. He has. It's not like he
Staring
supports it.
directly at you the whole
The thing
time.
is, he's never paid a single dime for any of this. It's a joke for him. He's pirated all the episodes. He has bought everything from like thrift stores and like dollar stores. He's never bought anything for any kind of retail. He's just like, yeah, he's he's just one of those people. He just thinks it's a funny gag. You bastard. Anyway, I would watch Doug Dynasty, but I can I hate myself the entire way. I couldn't do it. It would hurt. It would hurt a lot. Anyway, we're distracted. We were talking
Yeah.
about Wildhood.
Smile. We got done with
No,
Smile.
Wildhood.
Wildhood, which may in fact be the best movie we watched of the past month. It was
Yeah,
really fucking
it made
good.
it
Like,
on to my best of 2022 list.
um, I was
High up on that
stunned
list.
by the cinematography in this movie because
Tell
it is.
them about the movie.
Oh, tell them about the movie account. Okay, so it is it's a movie about a Native American kid and his brother. Um, and the one kid is two spirited. So um, fuck. They have a terrible fucking family life, right? And the one kid's father is like beating the crap out of him, giving him a bunch of shit. And so he decides to leave and run away, right? And fucking burns down his father's car
I think wasn't he
because he
kicked out?
discovers no, I don't think so.
I think he kicked
But like
out
I
like
know
being
he
gay or whatever.
discovered I don't think he got kicked out. I think he got his ass kicked for that. But
He did for sure. Yes.
yeah, he found that note from his mother, right? Remember? And that's when everything started kicking off because he realized his mother's still alive. And so that's when he took his brother and they went and like fucking burned their father's truck, like set it on fire and just fucking ran off. And they just started like hitchhiking their way to find their mother basically. And along the way, it's another one of those journey movies. It's like, along the
I love a
way,
good road
they're
movie.
meeting this character and they're ending up in this sleazy bar over here. And it's,
And then the main character, the older boy, runs into this guy. This guy picks him up on the side of the road, basically, and
Mhm.
it's someone his age, and they fall in love. It's the cutest gay fucking movie.
It is
This movie was so
so good.
fucking good. So fucking good. 9 out of 10. This is two
Yeah.
raging thumbs up. I'm so gay for this movie. I need to own this movie.
And what I found myself interested in is like this concept of like there are a lot of movies that have gay characters in them, but the way that the gay characters are depicted is like unnatural. It's like
Mm,
from the perspective of a writer who is not themselves gay, from the perspective or the view of a director who is not themselves gay, or something like that.
very common,
And
unfortunately.
yes, it's very, very common, but this is one that like it genuinely feels like it's written by somebody who has had these experiences, and because of that, it's like it's genuine. It's like this could be a real person. I believe this could be a real person and a real scenario that's really happening to somebody because the character is so well written.
Ow, 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 ow.
So
Mm.
yes, I loved it for that. I loved almost everything about this movie. I'd give it like a 9 out of 10, honestly. Like
That's
it's two thumbs up for sure. Two
two
thumbs up.
huge, mega,
And
mega thumbs up. It's on Hulu, by the way, in the
my
United
one of my
States.
favorite things about it doesn't have to do with the plot. It's the cinematography. Because clearly the person who is shooting this film is a huge fan of Terrence Malick. I mean, to me it seems like there's no way that he did not inspire the cinematographer of this movie because there's so much like the use of the magic hour is heavily on display in this movie. And there's also just a lot of stuff that looks like it came straight out of Tree of Life, basically.
There's a scene from
And
literally from Days of Heaven with the walking along with the hands in the field or whatever. And while it's a
yeah,
different field in this movie than Days of Heaven, and it's a different field than the field in Gladiator, which is also referenced in Days of Heaven. It's basically the same reference to the point,
yeah.
which itself might
So
be
if
a
you like
reference to a
Terrence
movie I
Malick
haven't
and you
seen.
want to see somebody doing justice to his style of cinematography, this movie is right up your alley. Wildhood was so fucking good. It was really good.
Like there's a line that destroyed me. It says, "You act angry all the time, and maybe you are, but you have a big heart and you care more than anyone I know." And I just like, my big gay heart exploded.
And I think my favorite part about it was the ending because it's like it seems like movies and storytelling in general trains you
Well,
to expect a certain kind of ending, and they actually give you the ending that they should give you instead of the certain
that
kind of
happy
ending they
found
expect.
family gay ending that every fucking queer person deserves. Every queer
Yeah,
person rejected by their family deserves, I should say.
yes. It was just fucking great. It's like an idealized way, a vision of the way the world should work with a heavy dose of the reality of the way the world does work,
Hmm.
but with the best possible
The
results
main
to all
character is
that.
blonde and named Link, by the way. We forgot to mention that.
Yes. This
He's
is
like,
canonically the Legend of Zelda movie,
and
correct?
they're both Mi'kmaq. I think I'm saying that right. Mi'kmaq.
Yeah.
And so like Link is discovering his heritage, and uh, the Michael Gray odds, what's his name? Smokey is the one like, yeah. Wait, no, that's not someone else, right? No, that's him. Michael Gray Eyes. Oh yeah, he's in Firestarter and New World, but I haven't seen New World in a long time. And he's also in Smoke Signals. Holy shit, dude, this guy's in a lot of things we gotta watch. And Dance Me Outside, I forgot he was in that too, which we didn't
Yeah.
talk about. We also watched this last month, and I don't know, I didn't think it was good, but
I still like it. She's indifferent.
it was. I didn't hate it. It was okay.
But yes, if you come away with anything from this whole show, it is that you need to go watch Wildhead because it's very good. And it came out like I think what was it 2021, and like hasn't gotten much attention, and it deserves more attention. Go watch this movie. It's very good.
I say Joe, watch the Joe Haver movies, watch
Yes.
and watch Wildhood, and watch Space People, which we haven't talked about yet, but
Yeah. God, space.
I mean, I love. As I get older, the less I care about studio films. I'm
Because
like,
you've seen them all. And
yeah,
even if you've seen a movie that is coming out 10 years from now, you've already seen it because it's just going to be the same fucking shit. Yeah. Like,
and sometimes I'm cool with that. Like, love watching giant monster movies and
yeah.
superhero movies. Like, I love that they're dominating the box office. This is great. I love all that. I love that Star Wars is like a fucking phenomenon. But like, yeah, outside of like those kind of things, I don't really care about the most blockbusters. Just most of them don't interest me.
Yeah. Well, I think the blockbuster or any remnants of it that are still remaining is probably coming to an end. We're
Maybe.
probably heading into a new era. But yes, I think evidence to what you're saying is in fact that that first Joel Haver movie we watched, but the big feet people. Because
We
you
are
would never
Bigfoot. We
fucking
are Bigfoot.
we are Bigfoot. You would never fucking see that movie made in Hollywood in a million fucking years. No fucking shot.
You probably never see space people made
You
either.
have to go outside of the norm and yes, accept lower quality than usual fucking
Look,
film, like in terms
you
of like
have to
what
have
they
your
can
inner
do,
child to watch
right?
film, to really enjoy film.
True, true.
And if you can't have the imagination, like of any sort, then your inner child's dead. Then you, I mean, I don't know, vegetate in front of a pop film. What are you watching us
Yeah,
for?
just
Like,
get past whatever part of you says you need some high quality, highfalutin nonsense from Hollywood, and start watching some movies that you would have otherwise, perhaps in the past, thought you'd never watch in a million years because
oh, it's a
you've
good
already
transition.
seen everything. You've already seen all that other shit. You don't need to see it, more of it.
Here's a transition.
See
Okay,
something
so
new.
let's transition to something no one's seen. Evil Alien Conquerors from 20 years
Evil
ago,
alien
officially.
conquerors.
2003, 20 years ago.
Evil alien
I remember when this
conquerors.
came out. I remember seeing this on Blockbuster shelves when it came out, and thinking, "Oh, I need to see that," and I never did.
I don't have any recollection of this. I saw it on fucking Tubi, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? I've never heard of this before."
It's got known people,
And it
and
has known people, known actors that you recognize in this fucking movie, and I was just sitting there like, how did I not hear about this movie? How did this movie get made? What is this movie exactly? And I don't know that I could explain it, except to say that I understand why nobody mentioned it and nobody talked about it and it never became a massive hit because despite the fact that it does star some rather notable C and perhaps in some case B list actors at that time, um, it's not good. It's quite boring. there are there's very little comedy to be had here. There was like one or two things that made me laugh. That is about it. I think I'd rather watch Billy Madison for the 20th time. I'll
no
put it
thanks.
that way. Like, this was very dull.
I'd rather stare at paint dry than
Oh,
watch either that or this fucking movie. Um.
wasn't there some transphobia in this one
Oh
too?
yeah, of course.
For fuck's sake.
Deep voice alien lady.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's always something like that. Yeah. So this is Dietrich Bader and one of those other comedians from SNL type deals, and they're
yeah.
sent from their planet to conquer the world, our world. And they get here and they're woefully inequipped and completely fucking inept and incapable, and that's the whole joke, and it's stretched out for like 100 minutes. And there are some okay. I gave this movie 4 out of 10 because there's a few jokes that made me literally cackle, and then everything else was just like yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's a bunch of gags that's just a running gag that's just dead 20 minutes ago.
yeah. Um, it strikes me that the filmmakers probably thought uh, that Coneheads was a pretty good movie. We should try to make something like Coneheads again, and
Oh yeah.
it just felt like a very poor attempt to do something like that. Honestly,
I mean, yeah. It's just shot for $500,000
it's like
in like the
it's not
valley. You
the
know.
the gag with Coneheads also wears thin very fast, but
Yeah. It's a sketch comedy
different
segment stretched out for an hour and a half.
they find different ways to keep you engaged with that movie and keep you laughing at different random fucking jokes, different social situations and scenarios to throw them into. So instead of just being one sketch, comedy sketch for an hour and a half, it's like essentially multiple sketches with the same characters
Yeah.
over the course of an hour and a half. And so that works. But the problem is, it's like this movie, it's the same fucking skit for maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then same characters, different skit for another 20 or 30. It's just,
Repeat. It's like that
oh,
through the whole movie. Yeah.
there's so very little that's worth fucking paying attention to in this movie. And the blatant fucking product placement.
Oh my god. It's trying so hard to make
Smirnoff
this
Ice,
gag.
anybody?
It's
Smirnoff
trying to make
Ice,
a joke.
anybody?
It's trying to make
Oh,
a joke about product placement. And in the process, it's just product placement.
yeah, exactly. It's like at some point somebody fucking watched this while drunk and thought to themselves afterwards, still drunk, I'm going to go to the store and get some Smirnoff Ice
Well,
because
there's
they kept
Smirnoff Ice, and
hearing
what
the
was the
word
other one?
Smirnoff Ice over and over
What was
again
the other
in this
thing?
fucking
Smirnoff
movie.
Ice, and
Oh God, I don't fucking
it
remember.
was
I
something
don't.
else. It was something else that was pervasive and obvious,
Yeah.
and every fucking scene had like a
Oh, there
Smirnoff
was the
Ice.
water brand. What was the water
Yeah, there was
brand?
a water
Yeah,
brand, and then there was something else. There's something else I'm thinking of
there
though.
was something else.
I forgot about
Yes.
the water brand, but yeah, there's these like various brands, and it's just repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Uh, Flogging a dead horse doesn't even begin to.
God.
It's that's what the name of the movie should be called, Dead Horse, and it should have been flogged instead of released. And I know why it probably only got released in like 3 theaters and dumped onto video by Lionsgate or Miramax, whoever the fuck released it. The answer is because it's this movie.
It's so bad.
2 thumbs down. Big fat
Bad, dude.
fucking thumbs down. That was a
Ugh.
fucking that hurt me. That movie hurt me. Man, we sat through all 89 minutes of fucking Curse of the Queer Wolf, and this movie hurt me. Okay? At least that movie wasn't boring. At
Oh
least that movie
God.
wasn't boring. Curse of the Queer Wolf at least wasn't boring. It
In
was
this defense of
repugnant.
Curse of the
It
Queer
was
Wolf.
repugnant. It was offensive. It was
Ending.
had no fucking redeeming value, but it wasn't boring.
I can't believe you are defending that movie. Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable.
I think they both should go in the shredder. But I'm just saying, Evil Alien Conquerors should be first in line into that shredder. What a dull fucking movie. Remember, folks,
Oh,
it's the
God.
only cardinal sin of films. You can be good, you can be bad, you can be weird, you can be strange, you can be stupid, you can be repugnant, you can be awful, but you can't be boring. You can't be boring. It's the big fucking sin. You can't bore your audience because they'll just turn you off. In this day and age, they really will just turn you off and go to a different movie. We're going
Yeah.
to start doing that too. There's lots of movies we're going to start doing that too. Like, this is boring. Boom. If I
And we
didn't.
won't review a movie if we feel that way about it and don't actually fucking watch the whole thing. But
Yes, I don't. We would keep talking shit about Road Wars, but like, we didn't finish it,
we're
so I'm
not
not going
getting
to
a
give you
full review.
I
Yeah.
just like that movie is like, no. We got 40 minutes in that movie, and it felt like an hour had passed. So, like, that was
Yeah.
time to go. Like, the movie hasn't had 40 minutes of just two people talking, and it's not well written, then I gotta listen to the fucking
I give it a chance. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get anything else out of this,
If it
so
stinks, I
I'm not
gotta
going to
hit the
waste my time
bricks.
on it.
You know, the meme told me to.
It might be a 4 out of 10 instead of a 3 or 2 out of 10. I don't know, but it's still a thumbs down for me. That's all. Or rather, you keep it at this and just say,
Uh,
I don't care to find out. I don't care.
um. So speaking of our point to a point, the budget doesn't fucking matter. We watched
Yeah.
Space People, which is a movie about these aliens who crash land on Earth and wander around trying to get help, and everyone just thinks they're here for a sci-fi convention. And that gag is
Perfect
there for like
follow.
5 minutes, and then
People isn't gone.
they like start getting human help, and they're trying to like get the shit together to get like to build a new ship or whatever, and shenanigans happens, and I was howling. I was howling. This whole fucking movie was so fucking funny, and it's not because it's low budget. Yeah, it's really low budget. Like no kidding, no fucking kidding. Almost all this movie is shot in a fucking moving truck. I'm not being. I'm not. It's not hyperbole. I'm not being a fucking
It's true.
snarky shit. You literally look. There's tarps all over the wall, and then one scene, the camera pans over, and it's literally just the back of a truck. The back of a truck. They didn't even bother hiding it. There's no door. It's just the old wide open truck back. And from then on, I knew the whole fucking movie. The spaceship scenes are all the back of a truck. Certain buildings they're just the back of the truck. They just decorated the back of the truck. It's the truck. They're talking to some building or whatever, the villains or whatever, right? And you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just a fucking moving truck with a different tarp on the wall. But it's so fucking charming because these people are trying so fucking hard, and these jokes are fucking hilarious, and these people are having fun, and I'm having fun. This movie is a gem. This is a movie I want like Golden Video to release very badly. Like this is the perfect movie for them to release.
And did we mention there's a sequel? We haven't watched it yet, but there is.
Oh right. I'm afraid to watch Space People 2.
Why?
I don't know if they can sustain a second movie.
Probably
I don't know what
not.
more can be done with Space People. Space People's
It
got 2
was
thumbs up, by the way.
such a fucking goofy movie. I'll give it a thumbs up.
Space
I
People
didn't like it
is
as
like
much as you did, but I did like
it's
it.
in the
It
top
was,
10 of the last month we've watched easily. Easily. So good. Fucking
it was
adore this movie.
it was unique in a way that you're not going to find in Hollywood. You know,
This movie would never get greenlit.
no
Never get
shot.
greenlit. There's no shot. Who gives a fuck?
Greenlit yourself.
That's right. They also had
Greenlit
like very
yourself.
little budget, you could tell, which is really charming in its own right. But they did a lot with their no budget, like literally no budget. They made spacesuits. Now, they also had a communicator. It's just a cracked iPhone that slides out of the guy's fucking sleeve. But they also played with that in a really neat way. I feel like they should have lingered longer on that segment because there's only like 10 minutes where the guy wakes up and it's giving the idea maybe it was all hallucination or something, right? But like they should play with that a little bit longer. I feel like that needed to be more to that.
Yeah.
But it was a nice twist, nice reveal. I don't know. There's more to it than just that little thing, but like that, there's that part where you're like, oh, and then the cracked iPhone and everything else makes sense, but then some other shit happens. No, I don't want to spoil it any more of it. I already said too much, but like this movie is a joy to watch.
It has
love
that
it.
same appeal of the other movies that you've been having us watch from the VHS days, the fantasy.
Oh, the dungeon. I'm sorry. The
Dungeon Synth or
no
Dungeon
no 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 Dungeon Drone.
Dungeon Drone. The Dungeon Drone genre. In a way, it reminds me of that because it definitely has the same feel of like a bunch of LARPers coming together to make a movie because they wanted to make a movie. You know, it feels like that, and I dig that about it. I love the fact that they're coming
Pooply.
to fucking Boston Common because it's a public grounds where they can fucking record something
Yeah.
if they want to easily.
And they talk about going to New York, and they find out they're in Boston, and we're all talking like, it's not New York, it's
Yeah,
totally Boston. And then
yeah.
that's really early in the
And
movie. It's not really
they
a
actually
spoiler or
mentioned,
anything.
yeah, this is Boston.
It's
They
one
don't
little
try
gag
to.
I spoiled. I apologize,
Yeah.
but yeah. Uh,
If I had any criticism, I would say it's a bit long, but that's okay.
yes, I agree. It is a little bit long, but it is very enjoyable. And our next film is The King of Comedy from 1982, which I'd never seen before.
Me either. First time for me too.
Oh shit, I didn't know
Um,
that. I think I did know that, but I forgot about that.
Scorsese. You can see how, well, I can see at least how it directly inspired Joker in a lot of ways.
I think everybody can see that because it's really
Yeah,
obvious.
yeah,
It's not like subtle about it. It's literally just what if King of Comedy, but the Joker,
yeah.
which works in comics, but I didn't feel like would work in a movie, so that's why I haven't watched it. It didn't feel right.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
Also, I
anyways,
have a problem with like humanizing the Joker, a sadistic man who has killed hundreds and
yeah,
hundreds of people in terroristic acts. So like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know if I want to humanize the Joker. I don't think I care to. The Joker doesn't need humanization. He needs to return to form. I need the maniacal guy who made jokes and puns of his murders, not just this boring, hey, I'm an agent of chaos shit.
not just what happens when you push people too far.
Yeah. Which is like, eh. Anyway, King of
A
Comedy's great.
rudimentary view of things, but
King of
yeah,
Comedy was another 9 out of 10. Probably the second best thing we watched all month.
it was very interesting watching these people who are very clearly neurodivergent, you know,
Yeah.
but they didn't really play too much on the mental health aspect of things. They did depict that without realizing it, but
Oh, there's definitely obsession. There's definitely an obsession going on here.
yes, there's absolutely they're both displaying obsessive compulsive behaviors in different ways.
They
The
are.
two people who end up getting involved with
I
what happened
do like that they're closer. They're more
happened.
likely each other than they either of them wants to admit,
Yes, exactly.
and that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Um, and you see how like what one person reacts to it, and then you see how the other person reacts to it, and it in a way it has the feel almost of like a Bonnie and Clyde movie.
Huh?
That
Gotta explain that one.
well, because you end up with these two characters,
Hmm.
one ostensibly male, one ostensibly female, and um,
Oh, I
they
see those.
are
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
yeah, and they're just
Oh, Sandra
they
Bernhardt.
both end
Ugh.
up um,
She's.
having this terrible toxic relationship with one another,
Oh,
right?
they're awful for
And
each other.
then
It's great.
through through this terrible toxic relationship, they end up committing a fucking crazy crime, just ridiculous crime, I should say.
Like there was this piece of
And
prose about how I love how shitty people we are together. I don't remember the exact quote, but that immediately when I saw this in the movie when they were like bickering and they're clearly toxic at each other, it felt like that piece of like prose was written about
yeah,
them. It felt like they love each other, but they're also really shitty people who love themselves more than they love anyone else, and
yes,
they're also obsessed
there was
with.
narcissism on display there.
Oh,
Quite a bit, yes.
absolutely. It was yeah,
You combine narcissism with obsessive compulsive traits, and it's like, that's a recipe for disaster.
big time.
That I mean, that person's gonna need therapy. But
Many,
anyway,
many, 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 many,
I guess what
many
I'm saying
years of
is,
therapy.
I don't think that somebody with those traits is irredeemable. But
No, they just need that. Well, by the end of the
but
movie, yes, but
yeah, but
those characters are irredeemable. I don't know about.
these
I don't.
characters
I
are.
don't think someone who's obsessed with someone is necessarily irredeemable. They just need help.
Yep,
They need help. They need to want to
and
get help
we're
too.
shown these characters and not getting the help that they need,
Yeah, I
basically.
mean, like, and that's, I mean, that's kind of indicative of our country. I think, really,
Yep.
and I think it shows a problem that was prevalent then and has never stopped being prevalent. There's probably another word than prevalent, but that's the one that came to mind.
Anyways,
Uh,
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs
Very
up,
good.
absolutely. That may be my favorite Scorsese film.
I think I still like Taxi Driver better, even though it's cringe now. But
Well,
of
you're not supposed to like the main character. You're just living in his head
course
for
I
a bit.
don't. Yeah, nobody likes the main character.
Well, unfortunately, some dudes
But
look up to him.
God,
Yeah, like, nothing makes me cringe harder than someone who's dressed like Travis Bickle. I'm like, ooh, boy.
I
Either that
think
person, that makes me go
yeah,
like, oh, what, I want to talk to you. Have
I think
fun.
what I
Like,
like the most about that movie is the way that obsession is depicted, like in the way that it's visually shown, like with the cinematography, right?
mhm.
Um, it's I don't know. There's something about that movie that just
my
I love.
my favorite depiction of obsession is Durfan, because that movie's fucking incredible.
Yes,
Jesus Christ.
that
What
oof.
a what a
I went with
fucking
that.
bleak
Oof.
dark movie. I love it. I'm glad so glad I own that Blu-ray. Just so glad. It's kind of rare now. All right, last movie, 12 Angry Men, the classic film you probably know, you probably heard of. It's very well known. It's been remade a few times. And in fact, the Blu-ray just got announced today that they're releasing a
4K.
4K.
Yeah.
4K to Blu-ray double feature, but like it also includes the 1997 remake that Friedkin released
Oh
because
wow.
they know they can't fucking sell the freaking one by itself because it stinks. Even Friedkin thinks it stinks. Friedkin's like, it stinks. You ask him, he goes, it stinks. Whatever. Ain't no exorcist or whatever you'll say. Like, shit. Fuck. 12 Angry Men, 1957, the Sidney Lumet. What an incredible piece. Though the entire time, first half of the movie, we were just fan casting the cast
Yes.
of like modern actors. I think it can be done with a really. I think a great rendition can be done with like I don't know, half the cast with Nice Out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, oh my god. Sorry,
You gotta
go
get
ahead.
Willem Dafoe in there.
Willem Dafoe. I
Yeah.
mean, like maybe I don't want to fan cast it in the show. I'm just saying. This is probably up there as one of the best movies we watched this month. Maybe this might be second actually. I don't know.
Yeah. I love this movie. I would put it. I would say that it's like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington in terms of its hopefulness for how the justice system should ideally work in an unideal world.
I mean,
But because when I think of a movie that's just almost propaganda in terms of how heavily it's like in support of the system, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is what I think of. And this, while it has a lot more criticisms, is still like I think their depiction of what is happening in that room, I think there'd be a lot more racism, and it wouldn't have taken nearly as long for them to come to the conclusion to throw this kid in jail because they definitely would have in real life. So like,
yeah,
um, what I'm saying is like the way they depict the way things happen is an idealized version of what the way maybe things should be at that time. And I like that though. I like that about it because of course I want to see the ideal. I want that, please. Because if you don't show the ideal in media and you only focus on the reality of the situation, then all people are gonna like nothing's ever gonna change. Nobody's gonna have anything to aspire to, you know.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Um, this is a masterclass on how to show and tell a character without
Yes.
say they tell you about the character, the way they talk about things, what they do with their free time, what they do with their business as an actor, like with their that's all telling the story about the characters. Each character is unique, and you can tell a character's background by the way they speak in some instances, and like there's just these little things. It's 12 fucking characters, so you have to have them. They all have to be really good at acting, and everything. Everyone nails it. Everyone nails it in this movie. This is so good. Jack Klugman, god damn that bastard. Henry Fonda, what a Jesus Christ, Henry Fonda, what an incredible titan of acting.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's just something about this. I it infuriated me, of course, because I get infuriated by
Good wood.
I'm very easily triggered by injustice, right? Like you understand, you have the same
It's a
issues.
common. It's a common trait among people
So
like it.
great common trait of my. Guess what?
Yes.
Autism. It's me. I'm autistic. I'm actually autistic. Um. Yeah. So like it starts as like a open and shut case of like, obviously this kid did it, and then they slowly break down the the facts, and each time there's like a, oh, but what about this lower class or a marginalized person who didn't they have a different perspective because guess what, the middle class white guy doesn't understand what it's like to be in that guy's position in the same situation. And so there's like all these little reveals, and at the end it's like the slow erosion of kill versus don't kill, or guilty versus not guilty, into not guilty was like really beautiful actually. Like, what, you changed your vote? Like, yeah, I changed my vote. I don't think he did it. Like that whole moment where he just blows up and screams, like, oh god, that was me. That was me. Just whatever. Stop harassing me. You know.
Yeah. I think my favorite scene, and it's probably everyone's favorite scene, is the one where the idealized version of events of what happens when somebody says some blatantly fucking racist ass shit.
Everyone sat down
And
and picked that shit apart. Yeah.
everyone, this person just kept ranting and raving and saying all these racist, ridiculous things, right? And everyone around him slowly just starts walking away from him and turning their back to him and ignoring him. Before too long, nobody's listening to a word he's saying or paying attention to him at all. He has been fucking clowned on, this man. He was broken by this,
Like second
okay?
murder
He
occurred that
fucking
day.
he wanders off still ranting and raving at like I don't even know how to describe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until he ends up sitting at a fucking schoolboy desk that's in the same room.
Beautiful symbol.
And he's sitting there just a broken, disheveled man who nobody will listen to anymore. That's how you do it. That's how it's supposed to be.
Of course, that's not
You
how it
know,
works, unfortunately.
it's not how it works. It's exactly the point I've been trying to make. But in terms of comparing it to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, but yeah, I love it because it's like the way that I wish the world actually worked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This movie is definitely not a realistic movie, as you were saying,
Yeah.
but it is the ideal that we should be striving for. Is the, oh well, but this person could be innocent, and instead of just dooming this person to death or being locked up, we should really consider the evidence
And
and
it
like
shows
think
you
through it, and
how
like, yeah, and
one
that's,
person could make a difference.
and
Maybe
one
not,
person can
but
make a
one
difference, but
person, you know, you at least
nowadays they
should
would just hang
try.
the jury. They just do a hung jury and
Yeah.
jury again because it's like,
But I mean, like, it gives me hope and makes me want to try, you know what I mean? Because it's like one person in this movie made the difference. Just one.
yep. It's a really great movie. It's 2 thumbs up. I give it another 9 out of 10. It's tied
Yes.
with all those other movies as like the best thing. I think I
I
almost
have the
think
criterion.
I almost think Wildhood's actually a 10 out of 10. I'm like so close to edging that bitch over because I really loved that very positive queer representation.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
God, it's
I'm so
so.
glad I just randomly came across it while looking on Hulu. Like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit, this actually looks pretty good.
DVDs
And
are
it was.
$26. It's only on DVD, I
Damn.
think.
Damn. By the way, if you do want to watch it, it's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's
Go
only
watch it.
on DVD. It looks like. All right, let's see here. Hold on. We're going to eBay. We're done, by the way. We're just hanging out now. Wildhood. Let's find out. Movies. Did it release any another? Oh, it's on Blu-ray in the UK. I'll probably buy that.
There you go.
Eat my ball sack streaming. Eat my fucking ball sack.
Because you know it's not going to be on Hulu forever.
Nope.
Somebody's going to watch this video
And
like
home
two
video
years
might
from
die
now.
before it gets a home video release, a proper one. So
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Continue.
And somebody's going to watch this video like 2 or 3 years from now if it gets put on YouTube. And they're going to
It will.
and they're going to be like, wait a minute, that movie's not on Hulu anymore. Yeah.
And there's only a DVD
Yeah.
released, and it was very expensive, so no one bought it.
Mm.
And then DVD stopped being produced, and Blu-rays will get stopped being produced at some point. And then what?
Check Tubi. By that point, maybe Tubi will carry it. I don't
And
know.
that download it if you can find it. I mean,
Yeah.
any way you can watch it, you need to watch this movie. It will. It's just a beautiful piece of cinema. It's very fucking good. I am staggered, aghast, and heart aflutter. Like, this is such a beautiful piece of art. It's
Yeah.
so rare to find something so beautiful and pure and like
It was not
very.
offensive. It was inoffensive.
It was very, and it didn't feel unrealistic at all. It felt like very
Yeah.
like straight out of the margins. Like it felt real. Like that. This could be this could be a documentary about these two people.
Yeah.
They could have existed. Like that's a very well made movie. Anyway,
Agreed.
do you have anything to add?
Nope. I think this is a good show.
I say watch Space People on Tubi. That's it. Watch
Oh.
Space People on Tubi. If you hate it, I don't know if we can be friends. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't keep my friends like that. Anyway, yeah. We'll see you hopefully next week. I hope we're going to do this once a week and only talk about 2 or 3 movies at a time and do shorter than 2-hour episodes. We'll see. We'll definitely have to be taking a week off every now and then because of life, but
Yeah.
we'll see if I can keep us going. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You gonna end yet? Why does this always do this?